Well, it looks like spring has finally sprung. Buds are bursting out all over the place. Some of the early flowering perennials and bulbs are showing lots of colour, and even some of the early flowering shrubs too, bringing lots of colour and interest to a whole new growing season. But you know, the essence to every good garden is to have interest throughout the whole of the year, even in winter time. And one of the toughest, hardiest, easiest and most adaptable shrubs that we can grow in our garden that provides lovely winter interest are the colour stem dogwoods. And there's a little thing that we can do to them now at this time of year in early spring that will bring even more colour to those lovely colourful stems. Let me show you what I mean. And here in this part of our display garden, I want to let you see what they look like in the winter time when they're growing outside in the landscape situation. This is probably one of the most spectacular varieties out there. This is Cornus Neon Burst from First Editions. This, as you see, is really a very colourful plant now in winter time, or as it is today actually in early spring. But these stems have been out here all winter. Remember that this is a zone 2 plant, so it's very hardy. Also, it's extremely easy to grow, and as you probably will have seen on this channel where we published a video that we filmed in the autumn time, you'll see that the foliage on this is really very colourful too. A beautiful bright chartreuse colour in spring and early summer, then going through to a golden yellow colour in the summertime that incidentally doesn't burn in the bright sunlight, and then in the fall, in the autumn. It is truly amazing, spectacular autumn colour. So if you're looking for a plant that's hardy, that's easy to grow, that's reliable, that has multiple uses, including here in the landscape, but also these are lovely stems to cut and put into floral arrangements, etc. And as you see, it is a nice, strong, vigorous, and yet not too tall a grower. Gets to about 4 to 5 foot high. And here, if you want to try and have it growing as spectacular as this in your garden, then let me show you what you do to it now in early spring. As you see from the tips here, it's just beginning to grow. So this is a good time to go in and cut back almost to the ground to about 2 or 3 sets of buds from the ground, these young stems here, because what is going to happen is now these growths are going to grow out from the bottom. They're going to make strong, luxuriant and very colourful growth, and that is then going to be the stems that will give us lots of colour next winter. And then as we work our way around the plant, you'll see that I'm shortening back some of these little short growths here at the bottom. But look at this nice big strong stem here. And there's 2 good sets of buds coming out from the base of the plant. So we just go a little bit above a bud and out it comes. And then on this one, we do exactly the same. So we cut them all back and then work your way around the plant, just trimming back to about 2 or perhaps 4 sets of buds, and in no time at all we'll have the whole clump trimmed back and ready for some nice strong luxuriant growth, and also of course lots of really colourful foliage during the summertime as well. And then just to finish off the last of these shoots that are here, trimming them back to about 2 to 4 buds as you see from the ground. It may seem like this is fairly drastic, but believe me, what's going to happen now is these shoots are going to grow out. They'll produce beautiful foliage this summer, which of course will be spectacular in the fall, and then we'll have lots of lovely bright red stems, which incidentally you could probably dry these and use them in decorations inside, or even for that matter outside your home. Put them into a pot and look how beautiful those are. And remember also that as well as being hardy, really easy to grow, not really bothered by pests and diseases, giving you lots of interest. It's also deer resistant too, and it will grow in a wide variety of soils, including damp, wet places. So here really is a spectacular plant that I hope you'll get a chance to grow in your garden. And then, because we have 3 plants here, I'm really just going to repeat the process with this particular one too. Just going through, trimming them back as you see. And what's important to tell you is that this same technique will work on all the other dogwood varieties too. That's the red twigged ones, the variegated ones, and also the ones with the yellow stems. But it has to be these colorful stem ones. Just be a little careful, because there are of course other sorts of dogwoods too that you don't do this drastic pruning with. Now I'll just end by saying that this is a technique that's called coppicing. It's something that's been carried out probably for hundreds if not thousands of years, and certainly in years gone by it was used extensively for producing willow for basketry. Same idea, you cut them back hard, you get strong vigorous growth. They were looking for thin flexible stems, but of course we're looking for decorative, very colourful stems. Now if you wanted to, you could trim them back every 2nd or 3rd year. The advantage of that is that of course it's less work. You will get little flowers and then eventually white berries going into the early part of the autumn that incidentally birds feed on. But honestly, I trim these back like this every year because the flowers for me are really pretty insignificant. And yes, it's nice to have the berries, but they don't last very long. And I really enjoy having all of this strong, luxuriant growth and lots of colourful stems, which incidentally works very well on the yellow and other darker red stemmed varieties too. So it's up to you whether you prune them as hard as I do or do it every 2nd or 3rd year. If you didn't prune them at all, you would still get little red tips on the plants, but the stems down here are going to be a kind of grey brown colour and not nearly as colourful. So I'd encourage you to get out there, prune back your red stem dogwoods in the early part of the year, and just like I've done here now, set them up for growing lots and lots of strong, luxuriant growth that will give you beautiful, beautiful, colourful stems in the wintertime. Now, the neat thing about these types of dogwoods is that they're really not bothered by any pests and diseases worth talking about. They don't really suffer from anything to worry about. Nevertheless, it's still good practice to clean away any debris and any of the little old twigs that are here, get them away and put them on the compost pile. And then, because you're looking to get some good, strong, luxuriant growth, it's also worth supplementing the nutrition. And here I'm using a slow release, well-balanced fertilizer. I like using these types because you only have to put it down once. And the instructions tells me to put on about 2 or 3 spoonfuls per plant. You just sprinkle that around the perimeter of the plant like so. And then I like to just work it in with the back of the rake, and in no time at all, you'll see that these stems will all start to grow. They'll produce lots of really nice, strong and very colourful growth. And then, of course, we'll have spectacular bright red stems again next winter. This is David Wilson. Enjoy your gardening. It's good for us and it's very good for our environment too.